Hello, class. Greeting. I hope you guys are all doing well. So, in this tutorial, I would like to show you how you can basically start writing a simple Python function. That's going to help you to just at least start um, and write a simple function and how to launch the IDL, how to quickly write the function syntax, and how to compile it and see the result. But that's it. Let's jump to our uh, tutorial. The first thing you have to do is, of course, you have to launch your IDL. Once you launch your IDL, then what you can do is you're going to get a screen such as this one. And in this one, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new file. So you go under File, New, and this should open a new file for us where we're going to type our code. And the reason we're this way, we can save our result and then see and correct it if we make any mistakes. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put some comment here saying to objective is to create a simple function, right? So you can put additional information if you wish to, but it's a good idea always to put some additional information, descriptive information to help you out later on to see what this code is about. Now, for the function, what we need to do is we have to pay attention to the syntax. So it starts with def, and we're gonna name it. We have to give it a name. Name could be anything. So it's advisable to give a name that makes sense. In this case, we're going to say sample function and open parentheses, close parentheses, and call. So um, let's pay attention to the syntax. So it starts with def, the name of function, and then open parentheses, close parentheses, and call. So we have to make sure we have that. In this case, we are not passing any parameter or arguments, so that's why we leave it blank. When you press return, as you can see, Python indent the cursor, move it, I think it's one tap, and make sure you don't change that because otherwise you're gonna get error messages. So start typing from here. So our objective is to just write a sample function to just print a information on the screen. So we'll say print hello there. Here we go. So basically, this function, what it does is it just, whenever we call it, it just prints hello there. And you can put additional information, print statement if you wish. How are you? And in some function going to be more complex, you're going to have calculation within this. But this is just to illustrate how you can start a function, write a function. So once we did this, the next thing, it's always a good idea to run your function. So I'm going to run it to make sure I don't have any syntax error. So it's running, so a bit slow. Let's minimize this. Okay, so now what Python does is that we have to say every time we write a new file or new code, we have to, it saves a copy of it. So make sure you have a location for it to save. We're going to call this sample function and we save it. Now it should run it for us. Okay. So let's close this one. Let's run this one again. I think we're running an old one. All right, so here finally, for the slowness of the system. So here we go. So to run, as you can see, we didn't get any error message, which is great. But now we didn't see this print statement, so we did something wrong. So in this case, if we look back our code, we notice that we need to call our function, right? So I put colon for ourselves. So we're going to say sample function. See, I'm calling it. So I'm going to do run again. And now, as you can see, the result is displayed. Now, if I want to run this multiple times, I can do again. I can call the same function again. For instance, right? So if I run it again, now we should see. So good, we made a mistake here, which is good. See, it's complaining about the name. It's not defined. Remember, when you're defining your function, make sure it is exactly the same name. See, we have a capital S here, but here we have lowercase, which is, let's fix this. This is part of troubleshooting that you have to learn how to deal with that. Here we go. So now we have all 4 lines have been printed because we call that twice, and we have 2 print statements. So let's conclude is that, okay, so in order for us to create a function in Python, make sure you have, the best thing is to create it and save it to a file. So this way always you can go back and fix it if there's a problem or add additional logic in your function. So diff needs to be, it's standard, that's a syntax, then parentheses and column, and you need to have indentation as well. Otherwise, you're gonna have problem. The compiler we're gonna complain. And in order to see the result, if you don't call it, it's gonna run, but it's not gonna generate the results. Also, another thing we need to do is every time you add a new piece of statement or additional logic, always run your code, compile your function to make sure there's no syntax error. This way, if you're writing 20 lines of code and there's a small, you forgot to put a parenthesis or a comma, then you're gonna get a bunch of errors. You don't know where to see the error is. So it's always a good idea to start small and compile it, and then see where, if that, after adding that code, the compiler runs or not. So that's kind of a high level introduction to simple function. And then I'll make another tutorial for you how to use another function where you pass parameter. So I hope this helped, and I would like you to go ahead and try this on your own. Trying to write your own function, then put something else here, print statement, and run it to make sure you get familiarize yourself with how to run, how to create save it to a file, run it, and check for any errors that you get and see if you can solve the error messages. Thank you.